So you guys absolutely loved my video all about Christian books of different genres that I love. I did 2 installments of those, so if you haven't checked those out, definitely go ahead and see the links below for those. But the biggest comment on that video was, how do you find these books? And so today, I'm going to be making this video to show you all of the different ways there are that I use to find Christian books. So this is going to be a really simple video, and I really hope it is helpful and enjoyable to you. And be sure to stay to the end for the best, I would say, unknown tip on how to find these books. So the very first tip that I have for you is to visit your local libraries. I know some people are totally pro libraries and some are against, and I can't really understand how people could be against it, because I love the idea of the fact that I can get a library book for free, and if I don't like that book, I can put it away and stop reading it without feeling bad that I've spent money. Anyway, at libraries, some libraries, it won't be all, some of them have Christian fiction sections. My local library here, it has books that have this symbol, and it just says Christian fiction on it, and whenever I find a book with that symbol, I know then it is going to be something that's clean and safe to read and Christian fiction. Another way of doing it is to look at YouTuber recommendations. Now, a lot of you guys really love my book content, and it will keep on coming so long as you guys like it, but that's not my main content. There are definitely wonderful creators out there that's their main thing, and so my favorite right now is BookloverAmanda, and I will link her channel below so that you can check that out. But a lot of my recommendations, a lot of, my love for this genre has kind of come from her recommendations, so I definitely want to give her a big shout out. On that same vein, following clean read lovers on GoodReads is an awesome way to find great books. So I follow BookloverAmanda, there's another girl, Tani Suchi, and you could follow me as well. I read clean books as well, so you can be sure that anything that I've read and reviewed would be safe in that way. But I love it because people are very thorough on that app with the reviews that they have, and a lot of these people, Tani for example, when she does reviews, she'll literally include a spice level, a faith level, if there's any swearing, anything, and it allows you to see at a glance, without any spoilers, what you're kind of getting yourself into with that book. If it's appropriate, if it's Christian, if it's clean or not. Something that I want to say really quickly is, don't be fooled by innocent looking covers. There is a trend going on right now, especially in the romance rom-com kind of genre, where they do these really cute looking cartoon covers, and I'll insert a few here so that you can see them, but they're not clean. Like, they're cute covers, but these books are, well, they call it smut, and that's basically just very sexually explicit language, all of those things, not clean books. And because this is such a trend, a lot of Christian authors have kind of jumped on that bandwagon of creating book covers that are like that, because that's just what people like nowadays. So I'm not going to say that all books that have those types of covers are bad. There are definitely a few recommendations of books that I've given you in the past that have those types of covers and are certainly not bad in that way. But that's just something to consider. Just because a book cover looks innocent and clean does not mean it. Now, when I find a book, whether I'm at a bookstore or the library, and it's not as simple as that. It's not something that has been reviewed by somebody who I know is good and Christian and likes that type of content in books, and there's no sticker that says it's Christian fiction. There's no obvious way. There's a couple of different ways that I like to look it up and see what I'm in for. So one way is just by searching the title of the book and then parent's guide or parental review. There is an app called Common Sense Media that I use a lot. It's good for books that are more popular. A lot of Christian fiction isn't popular, so it might not be on there, but that site is absolutely great because you can see at a glance what are the different content warnings. And I love this as well because it doesn't just tell you if a book swears or has sexual content in it. It also talks about different triggers because, for example, I don't personally love reading books where grief is a really big factor in the book. And so there will be trigger warnings like for abuse or grief or anything, sickness. Some people don't like reading about cancer. And it will give you what the different triggers are as well. So I really, really appreciate that in these book reviews. They're very, very thorough on Common Sense Media. So that is definitely a great tip. In the book community as well, there is also the pepper system. So usually books that have 1 spice pepper out of 5, which is extremely spicy, those books are usually going to be good when it comes to the sexual content, but again, don't assume that just because it has 1 spice level that the language is not going to be terrible, because I find that you can have a very closed-door book that has language still. And my next tip is just to know good Christian authors. There are so many wonderfully talented Christian authors I'm about to mention. Any of their books are beautiful and safe, and you know that they're going to be faith-filled, or at the very least clean. So a few of my favorite specifically Christian authors are Colleen Coble. She writes amazing mystery and suspense books. Denise Hunter, Rachel Hawk, Becky Wade. They all write beautiful romance, drama kind of books. Nadine Brandes, she's great for fantasy. Kim Cash Tate, Mandy Blake, and Tammy L. Gray. Kim Cash Tate and Tammy L. Gray are really good for true Christian fiction, like, you know, could be happening in your normal life. It's just as if someone is living in a normal life, and it doesn't really lean heavy on any crazy theme. If anything, they're dramatic, but they don't lean so heavy on romance. They don't lean so heavy on any of the other things like fantasy or anything like that. They're just truly fiction. And a lot of those are really beautifully faith-filled. Kim Cash Tate, Tammy L. Gray are some of my favorites for like journey with God, testimony, atheism to Christianity kind of conversion stories, things like that. If you want it to be truly about God, and not just have an overarching strings of faith or an overarching just the book is clean. These books are actually about God, which is really awesome. And then there are also a few authors that I've found that aren't necessarily, you know, walking around with a poster saying they're Christian, but I find that their books are still beautiful and clean. Joanne Fluke, she is great for your cozy mysteries. Leah Brunner, Martha Keyes, Courtney Cole, she wrote one of my favorite books that I read last year, and you can go check that out in my previous video all about the books that I'm recommending, and that was Home for Christmas. That was a beautiful kind of time-skipping, historical, but contemporary, dramatic, beautiful family-centered book. And then Danielle Steele, she's super popular, and I haven't read all of her books. I'm not gonna say I have my stamp of approval on all of them, but the ones that I have read have been clean at the very least, no language, and minimal spice. So yeah, I would say that they're pretty safe as well. And coming into my last tip, which I think is the most powerful tip for finding these books and for making sure that these books are clean and good to read, is looking for the certain publishers and also researching publishers. There are so many awesome Christian publishing houses that specialize in the different genres of books that everybody loves with Christian themes, and a lot of these aren't going to be as well known. They're not going to be as highly recommended and highly reviewed, but if they were by that Christian publishing house, you already know they're going to be clean, they're going to be faith-filled, and they're going to be zero spice or minimal spice. And so in my research, here are a few that I found that are really great. So in terms of just general great Christian publishing houses that do a little bit of everything, there's Bethany House Fiction, Thomas Nelson, Kriegel Books, and then specifically under the romance category, there's Covenant Communications, Shadow Mountain Pub, and Baker Bookhouse. They do a lot of really good rom-coms. And then I even found one for fantasy and sci-fi. I found Enclave Publishing. They do great fantasy and sci-fi Christian books, and a lot of these publishing houses have the goal. They have like an evangelism goal, or they have a goal of really getting out books that are strong in their faith messages. And so I think just looking up any of these publishing houses' websites, looking up their newsletters, signing up for their newsletters, and you'll be able to see these really awesome books that you know are going to be all good for your values and all of that. Another thing is just when you're looking at the back of a book in a bookstore or at the library, always look for that publishing house. So for example, in this book that I'm reading right now, it says Thomas Nelson. And this is a really great faith-filled book. It's also by Denise Hunter, so that's obvious as well. But this is what I'm reading right now, The Accidental Bride. I really, really, really like it. What I want to say to close out is that sometimes it can be a little bit frustrating to find Christian books that are good, that are faith-filled, that are clean. It's hard to find books that go along with your values, but I hope that some of these tips have helped. My advice is to continue to persevere and find those books because they do exist. I know all too well that feeling of seeing a cover of a book and then grabbing it or buying it or taking it out of the library, opening it up, and like the first word is a huge swear word and you're just like, okay, well this is unnecessary. So I hope that these tips will help you to find your next beautiful, clean, faith-filled book. They definitely help me. And if you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and comment below letting me know what your favorite tip was. And maybe if there's one that I've missed, any type of other tips that you have for finding awesome Christian books, leave that below so we can help each other out. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to join our cozy crew. Book things are not really my purpose on this channel. I am a Bible journaler and just Christian lifestyle content creator. However, if you guys continue liking this book content, then I will happily produce it for you. I love books. They're turning into one of my biggest hobbies and passions. So I would definitely say it's something that you can look forward to on my channel. All right, everybody, without further ado, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.